Picture this. China has built some of the world's most advanced and stylish electric cars, packed with cutting-edge technology and futuristic designs. These vehicles aren't just about getting from point A to point B, they're a statement of innovation and ambition, ready to take on the global stage. The plan? To conquer the lucrative markets of America and Europe, where millions of drivers are eager for the next big thing in mobility. But just as the doors seem about to open, the West slams them shut, imposing steep tariffs, taxes, and regulatory hurdles that make it nearly impossible for Chinese automakers to compete on equal footing. So, what do these ambitious automakers do? They don't give up. They pivot, and they pivot hard, looking for new horizons and untapped markets. Africa emerges as the new frontier, not just a backup plan, but a land of immense potential and opportunity. With a population of 1.4 billion and a rapidly growing middle class, Africa represents a massive, dynamic market hungry for modern transportation solutions. For decades, African roads have been dominated by second-hand cars shipped in from Japan and Europe. Vehicles that are often outdated, less efficient, and lacking the latest technology. Now, China is changing the game, offering brand new, tech-packed electric vehicles, fresh off the boat, and ready to redefine what's possible on African streets. This shift isn't just about selling more cars, it's about transforming how millions of people move, work, and live across the continent. The old auto giants, German, American, Japanese, who once dominated the market, are now facing a bold new challenger in a region they've long overlooked. China isn't just exporting cars, it's exporting a vision. Families driving new hybrids and EVs, not just 15-year-old imports, but vehicles built for the future. The big question now is, can Chinese automakers truly deliver on their promises and win the trust of African consumers who are eager but cautious? One thing's for sure, the race for Africa's roads is heating up, with more players and higher stakes than ever before. The global auto chessboard is being reset, and Africa is now at the very center of this high-stakes game. Africa is no longer an afterthought, it's the main event, the place where the future of mobility will be decided. And as the world watches closely, the next chapter in the global auto industry is being written right here, on Africa's roads. Let's talk about the breakup. Not just any breakup, but a global split that sent shockwaves through boardrooms and factory floors alike. For years, China and the West enjoyed a mutually beneficial trade relationship. China manufactured, the West consumed. It was a partnership that fueled economic growth on both sides, with Chinese factories humming and Western consumers enjoying affordable goods. But as Chinese electric vehicles became more advanced, more reliable, and most importantly, cheaper, Western governments and automakers started to worry. The competitive edge was shifting, and the West felt threatened by China's rapid progress in the EV sector. In response, the US imposed tariffs exceeding 100% on Chinese EVs, aiming to protect its own industry. Europe, too, signaled it might follow suit, raising the stakes in this high-stakes economic standoff. For Chinese automakers, this was nothing short of a game-changer. Years of planning, billions in investment, and dreams of global dominance were suddenly in jeopardy. Their global strategy, selling to wealthy Western markets, collapsed almost overnight. Showrooms that once buzzed with activity now stood empty, and export docks saw fewer and fewer shipments heading west. Suddenly, billions invested in world-class EVs were at risk of sitting idle, gathering dust. Factory workers faced uncertainty, and the entire industry was forced to rethink its future. Locked out of their most lucrative markets, Chinese automakers had to get creative, and fast. Boardrooms buzzed with urgent meetings, and executives scoured the globe for new opportunities. That's when Africa emerged as the next big target. With its rapidly growing cities, rising middle class, and hunger for affordable transportation, Africa offered a fresh start and untapped potential. The trade war forced China to diversify its markets or risk stalling the economic engine that had powered its rise. It was a pivotal moment, adapt or fall behind. BYD, now outselling Tesla globally, is leading the charge by building new plants in Ethiopia and South Africa. These investments aren't just about growth, they're about survival in a world where old alliances can vanish overnight. This isn't just expansion, it's a fight for the future, a race to stay relevant and resilient in a rapidly changing global landscape. The era of easy globalization, where goods flowed freely and markets were open, is over. Barriers are rising, and the rules of the game are being rewritten. China's pivot to Africa is a direct response to being shut out by the old guard. It's a bold move signaling a new chapter in global trade. Nothing fuels ambition like being told no. For China's automakers, rejection became motivation, a reason to innovate, adapt, and push even harder. The trade war didn't end China's auto dreams, it just changed the map, redirecting energy and investment to new frontiers. And now, Africa stands at the center of this new automotive revolution, ready to drive the next chapter of global industry. As the West closes its doors with car factories shutting down and dealerships going dark across Europe and North America, a new chapter is quietly beginning elsewhere. China saw Africa's potential, a continent bursting with energy, home to the world's youngest population and some of the fastest-growing economies on the planet. The streets are alive with possibility. Africa's car market is like the early days of the internet, untapped, unpredictable, and on the verge of something huge. Motorization rates are still low, with millions of people dreaming of their first car. Most cars on the road are old imports, often second-hand vehicles shipped from Europe or Asia, patched up and kept running for years. But now, Chinese automakers see a golden opportunity to leapfrog straight to new tech-packed vehicles, offering modern cars where there were once only hand-me-downs. Just as Africa skipped landlines and went straight to mobile phones, it could now skip the era of old gas guzzlers and move directly to hybrids and electric vehicles, embracing the future without the baggage of the past. Chinese brands are betting big, making features like touchscreens, advanced driver assist, and smart connectivity standard, even in entry-level models. They're not just selling cars, they're selling a new lifestyle. Deep economic ties already exist. China has been Africa's top trading partner for years, investing in everything from technology to infrastructure. Infrastructure built by China, roads, ports, railways, has laid the foundation, making it easier than ever to move goods, people, and, crucially, new cars across the continent. This isn't a cold call. China's been building relationships and trust for decades, laying the groundwork for a new automotive era. They're not dumping old tech. They're investing in local assembly lines, training workers, and building a modern mobile future with Africa at the center. The vision is clear. Africa as a true partner, not just a market to sell to, but a collaborator in shaping the next generation of mobility. Chinese companies are playing the long game, building factories, training engineers, and planning for decades ahead. The leapfrog is real, and it's happening now. Electric vehicles and hybrids are already rolling out, powered by renewable energy and new ideas. Africa's roads are about to change dramatically, with modern vehicles transforming daily life and opening up new possibilities for millions. And China wants to drive that change, putting up the world's biggest coming soon sign, right at the heart of Africa's automotive future. So how are Chinese brands making their entrance? With strategy. They're starting in South Africa, the continent's most developed car market. Brands like Chery, Haval, and BYD are everywhere in Johannesburg and Cape Town. Chery wowed buyers with stylish SUVs and a 1,000,000-kilometer warranty, pure confidence. They're pushing hybrids, easing drivers into electrification. BYD began with electric buses, then launched EVs like the Atto 3, plus charging partnerships. Great Wall Motor is upgrading from rugged pickups to sleek SUVs and electric models. Modern showrooms, big marketing, and local partnerships are the norm. The message: Chinese cars aren't just cheap, they're cool, reliable, and here to stay. They're competing at every level, from workhorses to futuristic EVs. Africa's car market is getting a serious upgrade. Let's talk price. Chinese automakers have a massive edge. Their cars cost less but come loaded with features once reserved for luxury brands. In South Africa, a top Chinese SUV can cost the same as a basic European hatchback. For families in Kenya or Nigeria, a new car is suddenly within reach. Warranty, safety, and that new car smell included. It's not just about being cheap, it's about redefining value. Legacy brands tout quality and resale, but Chinese brands overwhelm with tech and price. The question for buyers: why pay more for less? The market is being disrupted big time. But it's not all smooth driving. Affordability is still a huge hurdle. Most Africans can't easily buy new cars. Financing is tough, and the new car market is tiny compared to the population. Then there's infrastructure, unreliable electricity, and almost no public charging for EVs. Range anxiety is real when the power goes out. Trust is another challenge. Decades of made-in-China stereotypes linger. African buyers want proof these cars are reliable and tough enough for local roads. After-sales service and spare parts networks must be built from scratch. Regulations and import duties vary wildly across 54 countries. Each market is a puzzle. Bureaucracy and tariffs can make importing cars a nightmare. Chinese brands must adapt to each country's unique challenges. Building trust and infrastructure takes time and patience. These aren't just potholes, they're craters. Success will require more than just good cars. It'll take local expertise, investment, and a lot of grit. So, how are Chinese companies tackling these challenges? By becoming true partners, not just sellers. They're offering bold warranties, like Chery's million-kilometer promise, to build trust. Cars are tested and tweaked for African roads, not just shipped from China. BYD partners with conservation groups, showing their EVs can handle the African bush. They're building charging stations with local firms, sometimes bundling home chargers with EVs. Financing is getting creative, lease-to-own, local bank partnerships, and affordable entry models. After-sale service is a priority. Spare parts, trained mechanics, and strong support networks. The goal: win loyalty, not just sales. It's a holistic, long-term approach. Chinese brands are investing in Africa's future, not just its present. The next big move? Building cars in Africa, not just shipping them in. Local assembly plants mean jobs, skills, and real investment. It's a statement: we're here to stay. Assembling cars locally cuts import duties, making them even more affordable. It also creates supply chains and trains a local workforce. Brands like BAIC and Chery are already building in South Africa. BYD is eyeing Ethiopia and Nigeria. Local production turns foreign brands into community partners. It's not just about selling cars, it's about driving industrialization. This is the next phase, from trade to true partnership. Africa's auto industry is getting a homegrown boost. So will Chinese automakers revolutionize Africa, or hit a wall? The answer? A bit of both. The vision of affordable new, even electric cars is powerful, but the road is long and bumpy. Chinese brands will grab market share and force legacy automakers to step up. For African consumers, that means more choice and better prices. The EV dream is real, but for now, hybrids and efficient gas cars will lead the way. The leapfrog will be gradual, urban centers first, then the rest. Success depends on being more than car sellers, investing, training, and building trust. If they pull it off, they'll help drive a new era of mobility and opportunity. The race is on, and Africa is in the driver's seat.